Do you know the land of funk, carnival, paradisiacal beaches, and such a diverse culture that puts on a show for the whole world? No, it's not just about samba and football. Today we'll explore what makes this country a true global phenomenon. Ready to learn something about Brazil that you may not have known? Then stick with it until the end. We start with the Cidade Maravilhosa, Rio de Janeiro. With iconic landscapes such as Christ the Redeemer, one of the 7 new wonders of the world, and Sugarloaf Mountain, Rio is a unique mix of lush nature and vibrant urbanity. Its beaches, such as Copacabana and Ipanema, are famous worldwide, as is the Carnival, which turns the city into a huge open-air party. No wonder that Rio is one of the most sought-after destinations by tourists from all over the world. Foz do Iguaçu, we encounter one of the most impressive natural wonders in the world, the Iguaçu Falls. Located on the border between Brazil and Argentina, the waterfalls offer an unforgettable experience. The deafening sound of the falling water, the rising mist, and the pure power of nature leave every visitor speechless. Don't forget to visit the bird park, Parque das Aves, another highlight of the region. Salvador, the first capital of Brazil, destination full of history, culture, and joie de vivre. Walking through Pelourinho, with its cobblestone streets and colorful mansions, feels like a trip back in time. The elevator Lacerda offers spectacular views of the Baía de Todos os Santos. And of course, the energy of popular festivals such as Carnival and the Imanha Festival makes Salvador a unique place. In addition, its beaches are perfect for anyone looking for relaxation. The Amazon is a destination for anyone seeking a connection with nature. With unparalleled biodiversity, the Amazon offers unforgettable experiences such as boating on the rivers, observing wildlife, and learning about local indigenous cultures. A visit to Manaus, the gateway to the Amazon, as well as exploring the Amazon Theater and the Meeting of the Waters are mandatory stops for every visitor. Florianopolis, known as Ilha da Magia, is the perfect destination for beach lovers and outdoor enthusiasts. With over 40 beaches, the city offers options to suit every taste, from lively beaches like Jura Internacional to quiet retreats like Lagoinha do Leste. The Lagoa de Conceição is the beating heart of the city, with bars, restaurants, and water sports. For history and architecture lovers, Ouro Preto in Minas Gerais is a must-see. This historic city is a true open-air museum with magnificent Baroque churches such as the Igreja de São Francisco de Assis, designed by Elijah Dinho. Walking through the cobbled streets feels like a trip to colonial Brazil, where culture and history are present at every corner. The Lençóis Maranhenses in the state of Maranhão are a landscape straight out of a dream. This desert with crystal-clear lagoons is a unique natural phenomenon. The best time to visit is during the rainy season when the lagoons are full and reflect the blue skies. Exploring this region by buggy or on foot is an adventure that will stay with you forever. São Paulo, Brazil's largest city, is a destination that never stands still. With a vibrant cultural scene, the city is home to renowned museums such as MASP and Ipiranga Museum, as well as a cuisine that reflects the diversity of its population. The Japanese-influenced Liberdade District and trendy Vila Madalena are great places to explore. Fernando de Noronha is an exclusive and protected destination, ideal for those seeking peace and contact with nature. Its beaches, such as the Baía do Sancho and the Baía dos Porcos, are among the most beautiful in the world. Additionally, Noronha is a diver's paradise, with crystal-clear waters and rich marine fauna. For anyone looking for a European flair in Brazil, Gramado in the state of Rio Grande do Sul is the ideal destination. The city enchants with its charming architecture, delicious gastronomy, and events such as the Natal Luz, which transforms Gramado into a true fairy tale. From the heat of the beaches in the northeast to the cozy cold of the south, Brazil is a country full of unforgettable destinations. Each place tells a story, offers unique experiences, and reveals the soul of a hospitable and fun-loving people. And you, which of these travel destinations would you like to visit? Leave a comment and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This will help us create more content like this. But it is at Carnival, perhaps the most famous festival in the world, that the true Brazilian energy unfolds. Millions of people dance in the streets to the rhythm of the samba, in colorful costumes, on magnificent floats, and with a spirit of unity that overcomes social barriers. Carnival is a reflection of a pluralistic Brazil in which different musical styles and dances meet and are reinvented every year. And when we talk about movement and dance, we must not forget capoeira. A mixture of combat, dance and game, capoeira is a true martial art created by African slaves in Brazil and today is a symbol of resistance and cultural identity. Brazilian cuisine is another essential part of the culture. Each region of Brazil has its traditional dishes, many of which arise from the fusion of indigenous, African, and Portuguese influences. The simple but tasty rice with beans is the centerpiece of everyday meals. But there are also more elaborate dishes such as the feijoada, a real feast for the palate, and the churrasco, which brings friends and families together around the fire. And of course we can have the tropical fruits such as mango, coconut, and don't forget acai, which are included in many recipes and refreshing juices. Brazilian nature is also a key player in the culture. Brazil is home to the Amazon, the largest rainforest in the world, and a coastline full of paradisiacal beaches. Brazilians' connection to nature runs deep, be it at a waterfall in the mountains of Minas Gerais, on a hike in the Atlantic rainforest, or on a sunny day on the beaches of Ipanema or Jericoacoara. And of course we can't talk about Brazilian culture without mentioning football. For many in Brazil, football is more than just a sport, it's a passion, a religion. On every street, every field or beach you can see one watch the game, and the Brazilian national team, with its stars and historic victories, represents the pride of an entire nation. Brazilian culture is therefore a rich mix of traditions, beliefs, and artistic expressions. But above all, it is a reflection of the Brazilian people, cheerful, hospitable, creative, and full of life. Here in Brazil, every day is a celebration. A celebration of that, what is unique and what is shared, our differences and similarities. And that's exactly what makes Brazil so special. A country full of colors, sounds, and stories that together create a cultural identity that is unique in the world. Do you like the video? Don't forget to leave a like and the channel subscribe so we can bring you more stories about cultures from around the world. Brazil is known for its vibrant culture, its breathtaking landscapes, and its unique diversity. But there is something that truly defines the soul of this country, its women. Brazilian women carry the weight of history on their shoulders, the strength of the present their essence, and the hope of the future in their eyes. Today we learn more about these incredible and inspiring women who are the beating heart of Brazil. The indigenous women of Brazil are the guardians of our country's first cultures. In their hands live the ancient traditions, songs, and knowledge that have endured time and adversity. In their villages, they are guides, teachers, healers, and mothers. The fight for the preservation of their countries and cultures is led by many of them, like the activist Sonia Guajajara, who inspires the whole world with her courage and determination. Black women are the backbone of so many of Brazil's cultural expressions. As descendants of African women who endured slavery, they carry with them a history of resistance and overcoming. In samba, in capoeira, in their turbans, and in African religions like in candomblé, they show us the beauty and strength of their roots. And in society, many stand out as leaders, like Jamila Ribeiro, who is a powerful voice in the fight for equality and justice. Brazil. A country of continental dimensions where diversity and cultural richness combine in a unique way. From the golden beaches of its coast to the mysteries of the Amazon, from the vibrant energy of its large cities to the serenity of its rural areas, Brazil, a kaleidoscope of colors, sounds, and rhythms. Today we discover Brazilian culture, a culture that is at the same time traditional and modern, simple and complex. Brazilian culture is above all a celebration of diversity. A mix of indigenous, African, Portuguese influences and, more recently, many other parts of the world. This coexistence of different peoples and traditions has shaped Brazil in a unique way and is a vibrant culture full of contrasts created. The indigenous Brazilians are the first inhabitants of this vast land. There are more than 300 different ethnic groups, each with their own languages, beliefs, and traditions. Their cultures are expressed through body painting, music, and dances that celebrate the connection to nature and the celebrate spirits. The African heritage is one of the most present in Brazilian culture. Since the arrival of the first Africans in colonial times, their traditions, religions, and customs have merged with those of the indigenous and European peoples. The candomblé, for example, is a religion of African origin. In music and dance play a central role in communication with the Orixás. It is just one of many Afro-Brazilian expressions such as samba, maracatu, frevo and axe, rhythms that reverberate throughout Brazil. Brazilian folk festivals also reflect this rich mix of cultures. Santo Antonio, São João, and São Pedro are celebrated with great enthusiasm at the Festas Juninas, where quadrilhas, bonfires and typical dishes such as corn on the cob, canjica and pipoca delight Brazilians. These festivals show the hospitable and cheerful spirit of the Brazilian people. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video so we can keep bringing you content like this. When we think of Brazil, the diversity of landscapes and cultures immediately comes to mind. But in addition to its natural and cultural riches, the country is also home to some of the most expensive cities to live in Latin America. Today we delve into the details of the cost of living in Brazil and discover which places can put a particular strain on the budget. Let's start with the top of the list, São Paulo. Known as the economic heart of the country, São Paulo is a vibrant metropolis full of opportunity, culture, and world-class gastronomy. But all of this comes at a price. The rent for a two-bedroom apartment in central neighborhoods like Jardins or Vila Olympia can easily exceed 5,000 Brazilian reals per month. And that's without the costs of transportation, which depend on whether you choose chaotic traffic or crowded public transport, as well as food and leisure, which aren't exactly cheap either. Right behind comes Rio de Janeiro, the wonderful city that combines breathtaking landscapes with equally impressive costs of living. Neighborhoods like Leblon and Ipanema not only offer postcard-perfect scenery, but also prices that rival those of major global capitals. A coffee at a beach bar can be more expensive than in many smaller inland cities, and rents there can reach astronomical levels. Other cities that make the list of expensive places include Brasilia, with its iconic architecture and inflated real estate market, especially in posh areas like Lago Sul and Lago Norte. Floripa, or Florianópolis, known for its paradisiacal beaches, attracts both tourists as well as wealthy residents and is one of the most expensive capitals in the south of the country. But why is the cost of living in these places so high? Partly it is due to the concentration of services, infrastructure, and well-paid jobs in these regions, but also due to the increasing demand for housing in privileged locations, which increases the prices of real estate and services drives up. On the other hand, there are also more affordable cities in states such as Minas Gerais, Goiás, or in the interior of the Northeast, which offer a lower cost of living without sacrificing quality of life. But is it worth swapping the hustle and opportunities of large metropolises for the tranquility of smaller cities? Now I want to know from you. Where do you live or where would you like to live, and how do you feel the impact of the cost of living in your everyday life? Write it in the comments and let's continue this conversation. Like our content? Write below which country you would like to travel to without leaving home, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video. This will help us continue to learn more about cultures and places to report to the whole world. Brazil is a country full of fascinating stories and breathtaking landscapes, but it's not all bright colors and infectious joy. There is a dark side that often remains hidden but profoundly affects the lives of thousands of people, the problem of social inequality and its impact on everyday life. Imagine living in a country where wealth and luxury coexist with extreme poverty. On the same street there may be a luxury apartment building, while right next to it a disadvantaged community is struggling without basic sanitation and essential services. This inequality is not just an economic issue, it is an open wound that is reflected in various areas such as education, health, and safety. For example, children born in less privileged areas often have less access to quality education, reducing their chances of social advancement. At the same time, the public health system, although essential to millions, often faces challenges such as long queues and a lack of resources. This contrast creates a cycle that compounds difficulties for the disadvantaged. In addition, a shadow hovers over the environment. The destruction of biomes like the Amazon and the Cerrado doesn't just affect the species that live there, it also threatens local communities and contributes to global climate crises. This often illegal exploitation is driven by economic interests that ignore the long-term consequences for the planet. But what makes all of this even more disturbing is the feeling of powerlessness that many Brazilians feel. They see these problems in their everyday lives, but face obstacles when it comes to finding solutions or making their voices heard. Still, there is hope. Community projects, NGOs and committed people are committed to social justice and environmental protection and bring light into the places where shadows dominate. And now I ask you, how do you see these challenges? What do you think we can do to make Brazil a fairer place for everyone? Share your thoughts in the comments and let's think together about how we can light up these shadows and build a better future. Brazil is a country of contrasts, known for its natural beauties, rich culture and warm-hearted people. But behind this shine there are deep shadows that are often not in the spotlight. Today we take a look at a dark side of Brazil, a topic that few want to talk about but that is impossible to ignore, the alarming impact of urban violence and how it shapes the lives of millions of people. Imagine a country where hundreds of people are afraid to leave their homes every day. In some regions, this fear is so palpable that it is reflected in the architecture, closed streets, high walls and surveillance cameras on almost every corner. This scenario is not just a scene from movies or series, it is the reality of many Brazilian communities. According to the latest data, Brazil is among the countries with the highest number of murders in the world, with most of the victims being young people from disadvantaged neighborhoods. But violence is not just limited to numbers. It can be seen in a suspicious look when someone crosses the street, in changes to everyday life to avoid certain times or routes, and in the difficult decision to either take the risk or isolate oneself. And it's not just about physical violence. There is also structural violence that affects the most vulnerable and continually creates poverty and inequality. There are complex factors behind this violence: the drug trade, which fuels an unofficial war between gangs and security forces, the corruption that embezzles funds that could be invested in education, health and infrastructure, and the social inequality that pushes millions of people into informality and the margins of society. As if that weren't enough, there are also the shadows that hover over the Amazon, the lungs of the world. As you watch this video, large areas of forest are being illegally destroyed, threatening indigenous communities, unique species, and our planet's climate. These environmental crimes are often linked to networks of corruption and exploitation that operate with impunity. But is there hope in the midst of all this darkness? Fortunately, yes. In many communities, people come together to create social projects that offer young people alternatives. Organizations work to protect the environment and promote political change. And the population is increasingly demanding transparency and justice. Now the question is, how do you see these problems? Do you think Brazil can overcome these shadows? Share your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is just the beginning. Together we can make a difference. Now let's talk about Christmas in Brazil, a unique mix of traditions and characteristics that reflects the entire cultural diversity of our country. Although it is celebrated in the middle of summer, the spirit of Christmas warms hearts and transforms streets, houses and squares into magical settings illuminated by lights and decorations. But in addition to the external beauty, Christmas in Brazil brings with it stories of community, overcoming and creativity that make this celebration something very special. To begin with, it is impossible to talk about Christmas without mentioning Christmas dinner, a true culinary spectacle. Although dishes like turkey, ham and rabanada are common, each region of Brazil adds its own special touch. In the northeast, for example, you'll find farofa with bottled butter and dishes with carne de sol. In the south, European influences are common in desserts such as strudel and homemade cookies, while in the southeast, diversity of flavors dominates, with ingredients ranging from the traditional to the exotic. But Christmas isn't just about food. It is also a moment of communal celebration. Many cities organize great events, such as the famous Natal Luz in Gramado, which attracts tourists from all over Brazil and the world. In the squares and streets, nativity scenes and huge Christmas trees light up the December nights, creating an atmosphere full of magic and enchantment. At the same time, Brazil faces challenges that make Christmas a time for reflection. For many families, the celebration is characterized by simplicity, but also by gratitude and solidarity. Food and toy collection drives are spreading across the country, showing that the spirit of sharing and helping is stronger than any difficulty. And then there are the special features that only Brazil has to offer. Have you ever seen Santa Claus in shorts or surfing? Here the good old man adapts to the tropical climate and gets versions that combine traditional with the relaxed Brazilian atmosphere. Not to mention the Amigo Secreto celebrations, which have become a true national tradition, be it in the family, at work, or among friends. And what makes Brazilian Christmas even more special? It's the mix of cultures, the infectious joy and the ability to transform simple moments into unforgettable memories. After all, Brazilian Christmas is not just about presents or pompous celebrations, it's about being together, celebrating life and renewing hopes for the year ahead. Now I want to know from you, how do you celebrate Christmas? Is there a special dish at your Christmas dinner? Or do you prefer a quieter celebration? Write it in the comments because that's exactly what Christmas means, sharing stories and spreading love. Thank you for watching until the end and see you in the next video.